there's 2 types of magic. So there's 2 types, and then there's 8 schools out of those 2 types. So I think I'd like to explain that.
In Pathfinder, and there's a lot of like additions where like you can be
and I thought that's
a scion and like things like that.
Way too complicated. So to make it simple, if someone's trying to, if I had to tell someone how to play a mage, right, which is my specialty, or basically a sorcerer or any kind of wizard, basically necromancy too, that's also my specialty, because I like that.
Before you get into the schools, Chuck, because I do want to hear that, and I know that the different schools apply to the magic. What I wanted to do, basically, the concept was this. I've been playing 5th edition in my current campaign at the hobby store, and I noticed that one of the things I don't like about the 5e, I like 5e, but one thing I don't like is the way that the magic is set up is kind of boring, you know, like they still use the schools. I don't know how to describe it, but when the characters, even at early levels, like let's say you get to 3rd level, 4th level, because you could start at level 1 or you could start at level 3. Like if the DM says, okay, well, you can start at any level you want, level 3, 4, whatever. But if the DM says, okay, we're starting with level 1, or level 3, let's say level 3, even at level 3, you have very powerful spells or things that you can do, including the cantrips. The cantrips are like what in 3.5 that we used to refer them as, well, the 3.5 is still called cantrips, right?
It's still called cantrips.
Yeah, so that's basically spells you can,
the gimme.
They're the free spells.
Yeah,
The
freebies.
free spell.
Yeah, free spells.
Free spells.
Yeah.
They're called, actually they were first introduced as universal spells.
Right.
I can do it no matter what.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it at any time, you know.
Like the
so
baby was born, you get the free spell.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a wizard, if you're a spellcaster, you can cast them anytime. And they didn't change that for 5th, but it's like you, in addition to that, you still have like other spells at different levels. And I don't like the fact that they always work. That's one of the things that would frustrate me. And I talked about this in another video I did by myself, how like let's say you're a wizard or a sorcerer. It doesn't matter what class you're at, right? You cast a spell and you have your components, and you're doing, unless you're in a boat or something, it's like you have concentration. You have to concentrate to cast the spell, right? But unless you're in a boat or you lose you know, there's a storm or something, or you lose concentration, then your spell most of the time is always going to work. There's very few spell failures, you know. But that wasn't the case. Even in 4th edition, the edition previous to the new one, the current one, that wasn't always the case. There was some, especially I think 3.5 had spell failure too, like if you lost concentration. So I wanted to kind of talk about how some of the, not only just describe them, because I think we should describe them because they're so intricate. Not everybody knows how to play a spellcaster. No matter what the system, they don't change.
And there's so many different characters too. You can be, you can still cast on as other characters. It doesn't have to be a basic magic character.
No, and so I wanted to say, well, how do we fix the problem? You know, my solution to it was like, well, I know the system, so you know, I would play a 5th edition game, but I would still incorporate some of the rules from like 4th, or like from the ones that work from like 3.5, or even other systems like Dungeon Crawl Classic, which is a clone, and just sort of improve it that way, you know. So, but go ahead. Can you start off? If you don't mind, Chuck, talking about, because I know you like to play the spell thing. You told me, well, I want to be a wizard when we were planning our game. And why do you like the spellcasting classes? And, you know, why do you gravitate towards them? And what's good about them? You know, and you said, you know, always have like what's the classic ones, you know, like Firebolt or the classic spell.
Yeah, the casters, they're pretty.
Magic Missile. It was like,
it's all have to have magic charisma.
Missile. Yeah.
Gotta have that charisma.
So
yeah.
I like playing spellcasters because I think they're intricate.
Yeah.
And I'm a pretty intricate person myself. I like complications. I mean, like right now, if you just look, I have a manual for a synthesizer, you know, right behind me, and that's so big old nerd stuff. But I like having options. Same reason why I like Android over Apple.
Right.
You know, like because I can do more things on an Android.
Oh,
I like options. I'm an options guy.
It's like
Yeah.
a PC.
Yeah, that's why I've always played spellcasters, not only for the long range, because I shouldn't have to get my hands dirty if I can just something real quick and then go to something else. You know, it's
Okay.
like kind of like the monsters are annoying me, and it's just better to get them out of the way right away because I have stuff to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just the way I've always thought about that. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I like them. They're simple. I like the fact that they're more. I think they're more closer to real life in the context of you. They die very easy, just like
Yeah.
normal human beings. We can die very easy, and but also the power of the mind. You know, what's the most powerfulest weapon we have, right? Is our mind.
Yeah.
And that always intrigued me because that's what makes man the most deadliest thing on the planet.
Okay.
Is our mind, right?
Yeah.
And
There isn't a lot of options when you're playing another character, and
That's the
I
thing.
mean, as a DM, when you ask a player to take their turn, and
Yeah.
it's like a fighter is like, all right, I'm going to use my weapon. That's all they
Mhm.
got.
Yeah.
I see very few DMs that allow a character to go, I'm gonna do a backflip and all this stuff. Like, there's a lot
they
to
should
roll.
though.
They should. And
They
then
should.
I feel like there isn't a lot of imagination behind those kind of characters. So I know what you mean when you say the magic characters are the way to go when you want those options.
Yeah, and then the second would be the close second would be like a thief.
Yeah.
You got so many things. It's all about breaking rules, right? And
Yeah.
with the thief, so that would be my second favorite class,
Yeah.
or any kind of rogue or thief, because you're not playing by the rules. And in a way, magic spellcasters, they don't play by the rules. I mean, you know, depending on your alignment, right? But
Yeah.
most you never see righteous spellcasters unless you're a paladin. But not
Yeah.
even then, not even they are true spellcasters. They're just using it like as
You
support.
just have a fancy, yeah, the god gave him a fancy power just to use
Yeah.
every once in a while.
And it's just the fact of, you know, and I want to get back to what you're saying about the cantrips and your war against the cantrips.
You're on war. Yeah. There's a war against the cantrips. Is that what you-
Endless war against the cantrips.
Yeah.
So I like to think of cantrips as you say, it kind of upsets you sometimes that they can use them all the time, right? But I kind of use the cantrips as, well, you have a knife, right? Like, so a rogue has a dagger,
Yeah.
right? Or a warrior, if he loses his sword, he has some kind of supplement second hand, right? That
Yeah.
he can use all the
Bow and
time. Right?
arrow. Yeah.
So that's a wizard's thing. So like, you know, like acid touch is something like you don't get close to a wizard because I can always use it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not something I need to memorize. It's just something innate that we can do. It's just the properties of magic in all the systems just allows the spellcaster to use that stuff.
No, I didn't say that I don't like the fact that the cantrips you can use them. Well, I understand that. What I said was that in addition to the cantrips, which you can use all the time, some cantrips are pretty powerful, you know, and you can use them all the time.
I agree. Some of them are overpowered, and you shouldn't be able to use them all the time.
But
They
that's fine.
purposely make it so you can get a spell that's, you know, a couple levels higher than you would, just so that when you start off, it's like just like a really cool thing that your character can do. Yeah.
That's why they don't increase in strength, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if they did, we'd have a problem.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's always good. Like, so say you're a level 10 wizard, you're super powerful, right? But you know, if you don't take them out with your level 3 you know, sacred flame or your level 3 missile or something, which is super powerful. I mean, you touch them with a level 0 cantrip, and that was just the 3 points you needed, you know?
Yeah. So when we're talking about the you know 3.5 and beyond, you know, or before 3.5, like the early days, the old school games too, second edition, AD&D, all that. So the way I don't know about 5th edition because I don't play spellcaster that much, and I haven't really DM'd a lot of games. I've been playing a halfling rogue actually, because the DM that we had, he moved, he bought a house and he moved out of state to Colorado. So he's like, I'm out of here. So I'm just gonna be a player from now on. And this other guy took over, and we started. It's kind of like starting over. So his campaign was different, a whole different adventure. And I was like, okay, this is my opportunity to play something I'm not familiar with, because I always play a cleric or like, you know, a ranger or something. So I chose a halfling rogue because it was
Gotta
a
get
pretty,
that dex. You gotta have
yes,
that dex.
right, yeah, dexterity, and you know, when you move around. But I always thought it was interesting because they have two different types of halflings, which is the Lightfoot one, and then there's the other, I forget the other one, but the Lightfoot one is the wandering around. Anyway, they do different things, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, halflings are weird because there's little tiny, you know, they're like hobbits, right? And then,
Yeah.
but then he's supposed to be like a rogue and he sneak attacks and all that. So I'm learning how to play it, you know. I even got a mini. I have to paint the mini, but it's pretty cool. So anyway, my point is I'm not familiar with the class. I don't know what they do. I'm getting used to it. And the same thing for the spellcasters. I don't know. For example, in 5th edition for spells work differently where they have not, I don't know if 3.5 was the same. I think it was, but they have the spells don't coincide with your level. Like let's say you mentioned a 10 level wizard, but a 10 level wizard doesn't necessarily use 9th level spells or whatever. The spells are kind of their own, you know.
They can have a level 1 spell.
Yeah, right.
Just because you're a level 10, but you assume that if they're a higher level that they've had upgrade, you know.
So maybe this is a good.
And it depends on if they're a wizard or a sorcerer, because the wizard writes it down. They can switch up anytime they want to, as long as it's written down. Right. And then a sorcerer, it's like a memorization, or like it's in their blood.
It's a forgetment. Once you use it, it goes out of your head.
Yeah. It's a dragon blood. It's natural.
Yeah. It's still the same now. I think they just added more options or whatever. But maybe it's a good time for you, Chuck, since you're more familiar with the spellcasting. Can you talk about the schools? Stuff. I don't know if the schools make a big difference in like 5e, but I know that the schools are separated. Like you got your conjurers and you got the divination school. Can you talk about what the differences are?
In 5th edition, it's everything. Mm-hmm. I don't like that you can kind of learn everything. It doesn't have to work. But I think I want to start off to make it understanding. There's 2 types of magic.
Okay.
There's 2 types. So the magic system. So there's arcane magic and divine magic.
Right.
So divine magic's the easy one. It's anything holy or evil or any kind of any magic that has to do on a religious system or a faith-based system or any kind of a faith-based stuff. Like and then and then the rest of it, right? Our bard even would be a divine thing because it's something coming from arcane magic is something that is the rest of it, which is dominant in all the magic schools. So with that in mind, there's only two schools. So this is how you remember. There's 2 types. I mean, there's 8 schools, but there's 2 types. Okay, so you got the arcane magic. It's going to fall into one of the 2, arcane or divine. Yeah. And now that we know that, I want to get into I'm going to give you a quick overview of the 8 types of schools.
All right.
And I want to know the history of all these. I don't know all the history of them. I don't play all of them, and a lot of them were added. But so
I like that boom magic. The boom magic.
The boom shika. The shagging magic.
Evocation spells.
Yeah. So I got a list here. I'll just go over a short description. The abjuration is the first school. Okay. Yeah. This school is focused on protective spells as well as spells which cancel or interfere with other spells, magic effects, or supernatural abilities. Wizards who specialize in this school are known as abjurers. Okay.
Okay.
So this, protective spells, it doesn't necessarily have to be a divine type. So remember there's 2 types, right? There's arcane and divine. And so the abjuration is basically just, I can't really give a good example. I don't know. Interferes, they're meddlers. So it's kind of like your basic cancel spell, like so if someone's counter spell,
yeah.
They're counterers. They're about protection magic, counterers. They don't really do offensive stuff. So it's more like the knife's coming at you and he goes boop and stops the knife.
Yeah.
You see a lot of it in like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So abjuration.
Go to sleep.
Go to sleep. Some harmless stuff, right? That does, and it's basically your neutral thing. It doesn't really hurt anybody or help, or most helps than hurt.
You can't touch me with my little circle of protection.
Abjuration? Oh, sorry.
Polymorph. Yeah. Oh no. Polymorph is alteration, transmutation, which is the next one. Okay. So alteration and transmutation, obviously it's in the name. So the school focuses on the ability to change matter. So that would be polymorph. You change them which is terrifying, right? So you change them into something else. You change matter and the state of matter. So the spells in the school alter the properties of their target. This school was known as alteration transmutation prior to 3rd edition, and the transmutation in 3rd edition and 3.5, and as transmutation in 3rd and 3.5 editions. This is your old school polymorph, like you said. In 3rd edition, many non-mind affecting spells from the 2nd edition's enchantment charm school, which is down on the list, were moved to transmutation schools. So people are still kind of up in the air. So it's all up to the DM, really.
Yeah.
Wizards who specialize in this school are known as transmuters. So that's the 2nd school. Okay. So the 3rd school is conjuration or summoning. And I like these schools because you can.
Look, you froze on me. I don't know what happened.
What's what with them? And these are pretty much all arcane. Anyway, so it closed up.
Yeah, I can hear you talking, but your mouth wasn't moving.
Yeah, you froze for a second. Can you repeat the last thing you said?
The last thing I said, I was talking about the conjuring and summoning school.
Okay.
And that all, and the objuration and alteration and the conjuration. Those are good examples of like arcane stuff. Because anything that didn't come from a faith-based or divine or a faith-based or religious base is going to be arcane because it came up out of nothing.
Right.
The music is arcane, right? So like that art is arcane.
Some kind of like object or like something to cast the spell with, the spell component or whatever.
That would be in divination. Yeah, a lot of these things would use like charm.
Yeah.
And that's more of enchantment and charm school. That's on here too. So the conjuration school, it's focused on instantaneous transportation, conjuring manifestations of creatures, energy, or objects, or object creation. In earlier editions, this school was known as conjuration summoning, but became known as conjuration in the 3rd and 3.5 editions. In the 3rd and 3.5 editions, healing spells are also part of the conjuration school, which never made sense to me. However, of the 3 core arcane classes, these spells are generally restricted to bards.
Okay.
That's weird. I never heard that. That's new to me. Wizards who specialize in this school are known as conjurers. So making a staircase out of earth, the earthbenders, making things happen out of the magic wall. Mage armor, it's conjuration.
Prestidigitation.
So divination. So this school is on acquiring and revealing information. In the 2nd edition, divination was divided into 2 schools: lesser divination, all divination spells up to 4th level, and greater divination, everything 5th and up. In order to prevent specialist wizards from losing access to certain utility spells, such as detect magic, identify, and read magic, which should have been cantrips.
Yeah.
But they're not. Wizards who specialize in this school are known as diviners. So the 5th one is enchantment and charm. That's the next school. This school is focused on affecting the minds of others, including influencing or controlling their behavior. So it's mind control, basically, and the heart control and emotions.
Mind control.
Suggestion.
That's the classic spell. So that's kind of good to add a classic spell to all these. Prior to 3rd edition, it is known as enchantment. 3rd edition, the school changed dramatically when all the non-mind mind affecting spells were removed from the school, and many were moved to transmutation. Stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
In 3rd and 3.5 edition, the way they had it originally was fine. Enchantment is divided into 2 sub-schools. So there's sub-schools to enchant. I don't know nothing about enchantment, but so you got compulsion and charm. So the charm is charm spells are usually making them act more favorably towards the caster. Compulsion spells can force the target's hand. So the Jedi mind trick, right?
Yeah. So compulsion is compulsion like mind control too. Like you can compel somebody to do something.
Yeah. Where they don't know, they don't want to do something, but they feel compelled to do it. Like
you can make them your friend. It's like they trust you completely, and so whatever you say goes. Or you can make it so that it's easier to lie to them and
make them do anything, right? Make them do anything they don't want to do. I was like,
No, you actually can't make someone like harm themselves. It's like part of the spell. It's like one of the things where it's like, if you do that, then they come out of it and they're like, wait a second.
Well, yeah, if they're very weak, but I'm sure if they were, high level and the roll was a lot smaller or a lot wider, they could probably get it, right?
Yeah.
I'm asking from a player perspective.
Depending on the suggestion, maybe if the DM's like, you don't say like jump off the cliff, but you could say like, hey, it's not that far down, like stuff like that.
So yeah, I think it would depend on your level, but also the DM would have the discretion of saying, oh, you can break it, like everything else.
That's interesting. Yeah. So could I make a goblin stab another goblin?
Yeah, goblins are not that smart, right? I mean, depends on their intelligence.
That would be my first thing to like turn on them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so the sixth one is invocation or evocation. The school
evocation, the boom boom.
The boom boom. The school pertains to creating matter or energy out of nothing.
Fireball? Like fireball?
Yeah, the classic spell. This is where your magic missile.
Magic missile, yeah.
The magic missile and your burning hands come out of nothing. Because you just come out and you say the invocation and it just comes out of the matter in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And it just happens.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's the classic one. Both of which call up destructive energy, which can attack enemies. Both are examples of evocation. In 5th edition, healing magic became evocation as well. 5th edition seemed to mess everything up. I don't know. I like the original system. It worked. You got to pick, and if you were now, you could say I'm all part of everything, and you're like, well, okay, how did you learn all that in your human? Or your,
Well, I think there's some restrictions, so you can't choose everything, but there's more choice. They want to give people more choice early on, right? One of the things
you can pick out of the schools like 3 different schools or something like that to specialize in, and then you can pick like sub.
Well, that makes sense because that's how most RPGs are.
Yeah.
Well, what I was going to ask Chuck is like, I don't know how many more schools are there. Do we go through all of them? Or
there's 2 more. There's 2 more.
I'll finish the schools and then I'll ask you a question.
Right. So we got illusion and phantasm, which is the 7th school, and that's illusion. So the school illusion, this school involves the ability to change the appearance of something by creating a phantasm. So they're all about making phantasms or just fantasies, like illusions.
Yeah, illusions. Yeah.
The school is known as Illusion Phantasm prior to 3rd edition, and illusion in 3rd and 3.5. Wizards who specialize in this school are known as illusionists. It is just the same as almost aberration, kind of like that'd be the kind of like you have to combine the two really to be an efficient wizard, because then you can totally fool people. If you're trying to play a neutral wizard, you would be like an abjuration illusionist. So you're not, I'm a pacifist. I'm not hurting nobody, but I'm making things so I scare the enemy away off, or I'm making a wall so you think you're a dead end, and I'm stopping. I'm stopping the bullet from hurting the person, or whatever the dagger. So the last one is going to be my favorite. That's necromancy.
Yeah.
And necromancy spells involve death, undead, and the manipulation of life energies, basically. And prior to 3rd edition, healing spells are in the necromancy school. They kind of always have been, because they manipulate life energy, so they can give it and take it in a way, but they're stronger taking it and giving it to undead lives. However, these spells are generally restricted to clerics and druids. The healing spells. Healing spells were shifted to the Conjuration School in 3rd edition and Evocation in the 5th edition. Wizards who specialize in this school are known as necromancers, and a good example, Chill Hand. Chill Hand would be the classic example, which is also Chill Touch. It's also a cantrip.
That's one of the powerful cantrips.
The touch from the grave, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it is. So that's all the schools. I know more about necromancy than any of the other ones.
Because you manipulate the dead, and
that's the best.
Yeah.
But I mean, the second would probably have to be the invocation, because it's the classic one. Everyone knows that one.
Yeah. So my question is, and that's very interesting. I'm glad. I mean, I don't think they changed for the new editions, they still have the schools, but I don't think they have. I don't know what they do. Like I said, I haven't played Spellcaster, so I don't know how they break it down. In fact, like in AD&D prior to 3.5, they used to oppose each other. So like if you were a wizard that was using evocation, you couldn't take spells in, it was like a wheel. And then if on one side of the wheel, it was one school and then the opposite. So you couldn't take spells from the opposite school, or you were limited in spells for that. That's how they balanced it out. Because otherwise you could take spell, you'd be so powerful because you were over OP because you're taking spells from like every single school.
Everything.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense too, like you were saying, because to be realistic, like if there really were wizards or wizard schools, I don't know if they are or not, but if there were really wizard schools and you were studying to be a wizard, you couldn't. It would help you. Like a human's like 80 years or whatever, if you're lucky, it would take you forever to learn all the different spells for the schools, right? So it makes sense to be limited in some way,
You got to be limited, and I like the limitations of it. You're allowed, level 1, you're allowed 3 spells, right? Everyone knows that. That's how you start off magic casters usually, like wizards. I froze again. Oh, you're freezing too. You kind of freeze.
Oh no.
I look good on my side.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. So back to those cantrips. So now we can understand the cantrips a little better.
Yeah. Well, my question also because you guys know 3.5 better than I did. I think you played it a little bit longer. Did they have those limitations, or when you played a spellcaster, did they have those things where you couldn't take spells from one school if you were studying to be, what I mean? But like they had back in the old day with the AD&D.
So that one, you couldn't take from all the schools, and because there would be an imbalance of power and also continuity wise. Where the hell would you learn all that stuff? Now if you were clever, and how we got around that was you would say, well, I'm not really part of a wizard school. I'm a kind of a rogue wizard. Yeah. And I kind of picked it up after my parents died and I was orphaned, and I was picked up by a wizard school and I learned some stuff and I left. But I kind of learned a little bit from everyone in that wizarding academy, and then I got kicked out, and then I spent the rest 25 years, 30 years of my life just searching for things, and I'd find a scroll here and there or buy something here and there. And then you would have a mix. That would only make sense if you have 5 or 6 spells, and then 4 of them would be from different schools, right?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But you would never get really powerful.
Yeah.
Right? You would never get really powerful, but instead, if you went all in on necromancy, and you were a necromancer by the time level 4 or 5 came by, you'd wipe the floor with everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you would put it all in the necromancy. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Oh no, I was gonna say that's comes back to why I say that I don't like about the new edition is that if you have a lot of power and as a spellcaster, like as early as 2nd or 3rd level, then you have to make the monsters or your opponents or the situation a little bit more dangerous, where they don't go down. The way that 4th edition fixed it was, I like the way they did it in 4th edition. Like, let's say that you have a party with your wizard and your different type of characters, and you're fighting like an encounter with like a big boss monster, right? So because of the way the maths, because there's more characters attacking versus the monsters attacking, they'll have more attacks, right? So they have more hits. So the monster's not going to survive something like that. But the way they fixed it in 4th edition, which I like, which I don't know why they didn't carry it over into new games, is they had this thing like in a video game, they had this thing called minions. And so the minions were like, because it was also more tactical, more like you use a map or a grid. So the party would be fighting like a big boss monster. And then you could say, okay, well, but this monster has like different little minions, and the minions they only have 1 hit point. But you could have 20 minions or 30 minions, depending on what you could fit on the map, right?
That's the best part. The fodder. You got to get that fodder in there.
That's what they were. They were like cannon fodder type of thing, I really like that, and I wish they would bring that back, So Michelle,
that's why I like.
Yeah, go ahead.
I really like homebrews, you know. The dungeon
Yeah.
crawls are cool. I personally have never played a dungeon crawl. All the games that I played were home. Our group that I
Yeah.
played with, just that's all we did all the time.
Like in the wilderness, or a different environment outside of the dungeon type of thing. Yeah, you know.
We had a guy who just all day, every day thought of games, and he had a bunch of books, and he just at home all day would think about what the characters were gonna go through next, and he would just put it together, and it was like a movie, like he like wrote the whole thing, and we would all just go through that, and yeah, it was just a homebrew every single day, and everybody would always play their same characters for like the whole year. We would be playing like every week. He just have something put together for us. It was really nice.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's kind of like what I want to do. They have this volunteer program at the library, and they're having like board games and different game nights. So I'm gonna do one just for D&D, but I'm only gonna run D&D like once a month because I want to have time to craft like a campaign and, you know, run other games the rest of the time. But that's what I was planning to do. Should I run fourth, third, fourth, fifth, you know, because most people are know fifth, they don't know the other ones. And I was thinking, well, there's nothing preventing me from using the new system that people want, but homebrew it and, you know, taking the combat from the other, the stuff that works better from the other systems or even other games, and just sort of make your own kind of mix them up, you know. You can't mix up all the mechanics because 3.5 has very specific rules and mechanics, but you can add to like combat scenarios, and you can add to like non-combat what do you call it, like skill challenges and those type of things, you know. So what do you guys think, Chuck? What do you guys think about evil characters? Because I know one thing I was researching, and I was trying to put together this game that I wanted to do, and I had a copy, but I forgot it. But the one of the last products that came out about 10 years ago when fourth edition ended and they transitioned into fifth was called the Book of Vile Darkness, and I wanted to run that. I think there was a Book of Vile Darkness campaign for 3.52, but basically what I didn't know what it was. I thought, oh, it's just that you fight like a lich king, or, you know, like a zombie king or something. But it turns out that it's specific rules that they made, that TSR had made for running evil characters. So like, it's such a cool book because like there's an adventure, but it's like the party could be evil, because usually they tell you don't want to have it's really bad to have a lawful evil characters in your party, because it's going to destroy the party cohesiveness. So how did you guys deal when you were running games in terms of having evil characters? Did you allow evil characters? Because I know we're talking about Magic, and one of the things in that I thought was so cool is that they had different templates in there where, you know, it was just not just your basic wizard, but you could, I mean, you take a wizard from the player's handbook, but you could customize the template to a different theme. And so they had this weird evil, like one of the ones I really liked was like a drow based one, which was like an evil drow sorcerer or something. I thought it was the coolest thing, you know. So, but some people don't really like that. So how do you deal with did you guys, Michelle, when you DM, did you allow evil characters, or did you put a restriction, or how did people want to play them, or how did you ever encounter that?
It is a tricky thing, and I think from a DM's perspective, it's more of just like, how well are my friends gonna get along?
Yeah. Right.
And if there is a character like a paladin, who has to be lawful good, or like, you know, some kind of lawful, and then there's like a rogue that just is like, I'm not gonna be good at all, and there's that conflict there. I think it's up to the DM to put forth like an evil villain, or some kind of like higher, like
for a common cause.
Yeah, the world is in danger, and like, you guys have to work together. For this to work. So you could give like incentives and things like that, and you can reward them for working together at certain times. And I think it is a DM kind of thing where and I could blame the people playing, like if if
Like-
you want to cause a problem and then the whole game is just about them fighting,
Yeah.
that makes it tough, and then it's not as fun for anybody else that's playing the game. And
Yeah.
so it's that like
So
balance. It's a
like if you want to
harmony of
keep
the
if you want
story.
to keep being evil, you need to play along.
Yeah.
You can still be
You wanna
evil,
keep-
but you gotta
Still
work
be
with
evil, but you got to do this just this once and work with the good
Yeah.
guys.
You could even just like, have an aside with that person and just be like, okay, so either you're gonna have everyone know you're evil or you're gonna try super hard to hide it.
Yeah.
And then you can do things like where like the character can, or the person playing can text you or something like that, or pass notes on
That's
like
Hugo.
the
That's
evil,
Hugo's
the evil
character
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, the evil things they're gonna do
every time.
because
Hugo
they want to be
always played an
secretive
evil
with
character?
it.
Evil alignment.
That's Hugo's character. He's always trying to hide his alignment,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's always evil. So I don't get it.
Yeah. You think if he wants to try to hide it, he would have something different, right?
Yeah.
And
You know
that's
what-
another hard thing is when you're playing and you want to keep it under wraps, and it's like, who's going to be the person that's going to play the game?
Yeah.
Like they're gonna freaking pretend that I have no idea, or are they gonna be like I know you're evil. I'm suspicious. My character's already like I'm rolling a incentive. Like let me like see like if he's like fooling us or not. I'm gonna see if he's like bluffing, and it's like you can't do that every time, or you have
Well-
to try and figure it out through evidence and facts.
Yeah, right. And you mentioned the paladin, which is interesting to me because I had forgotten. That's one thing I liked about the book of the evil tome, whatever it's called, Book of Vile Darkness, is that they have the templates, and the paladins are usually normally they're fighting on they have to, it's part of their oath, right? So they have to be good, they have to be lawful good. But there is a template in there. I think the opposite was the one I was talking about. I forgot the name of it, but it's a class, it's like a drow, but it's kind of like an evil, like a dark version of the paladin. So that's basically what it is. Basically, like it's pledged. It has an oath to like an evil entity or an evil god or something, and he doesn't have to.
Something guard or something like that.
Yeah, I forgot the name of it, but it's very specific, and I thought that was really cool. I was like, well, because it gives a motivation different than what they normally have. What the paladin normally has. It's like when it's like when you were playing like Chuck. It's like you were playing the Death Knights, on Warcraft, and you're like, I was playing it, and I remember I only picked that class because it was high, and I was like level 50. I didn't want to start like from 1, and then they nerfed it. They nerfed it because I guess they changed some of the new patches. And I was thinking when I was playing it again recently, I was thinking, why am I pledging myself to the Lich King? I mean, he's like the bad guy, right? But there's a whole story element to it, and that makes it fun,
Yeah, well, that's the whole point of playing a Death Knight is you're a rogue Death Knight. You're not under the control of the Lich King anymore.
Yeah.
Because if he was under control, you wouldn't be able to play your character.
Yeah.
Because he'd be controlling you. So
well, it's kind of the same thing with this
that's
paladin. Right. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing with this evil paladin that I'm talking about. So that I thought that was interesting.
Paladin isn't held by divine following, right? So
divine. I mean, paladins are a divine, not arcane class. They're divine, right? Because they have to pledge an oath to like an entity or something.
They're not. But the evil paladin wouldn't be bound by their religion. So something's holding, because every paladin they play is lawful. Something is holding them. The light is holding them, right?
Yeah.
So responsible, so they can't escape that light. And I think it's more of it's a choice for them, isn't it?
Well, for that,
I volunteer as tribute.
Yeah.
I don't know if they see it as a choice.
It's more like, I guess it depends, because their alignment is not a neutral or a lawful alignment. So they're either bound to an entity, and they're like, or they owe money, like they have to pay, they can't do anything else, and so they're contracted, like bounty hunters, where they have to go out and quest in order to get gold or treasure and stuff, something like that.
So so my question is, what if if a paladin is bound by something, what if a paladin just decides to go rogue? Does that necessarily make them an evil paladin? Or can they be a neutral paladin? That's interesting.
So, well, it's the same thing for clerics. So I don't know about 3.5 and further, but I know that in AD&D back in the day, if you were a cleric or a paladin and you did not follow your alignment, you would lose your powers basically. So you would lose a lot of your.
Oh, I see.
You know.
Well, that makes sense. So they're bound.
Yeah. You froze up.
They're bound by their powers.
Yes, they are.
So
and the other thing too is
you froze up too.
Oh, I don't know what's going on. So it must be like a broadband issue. But yeah, you're bound by your oath. You're bound by your if you're answer to a specific deity or a god. I mean, isn't that the way you run it, Michelle? Like when you're doing the clerics and the divine classes?
Yeah, there's always a god, and I think it's also again up to the DM whether or not to influence or incentivize that player. You know, like the god needs your help, and he came down, blessed you, and gave you this symbol, and now you carry it, you know, as a badge of honor, kind of thing. Right. And it could be like the background story you give to that person, because sometimes that really helps, you know. Or the background story they make up that you can blend into the world that you've created. So it just depends. Yeah.
But I think backgrounds in 3.5 and AD&D and other editions are more, you tailor them with the DM and say, they're like optional for role play, but it makes your character better because you know what your motivations are, you know, right? Isn't that the way it works? Right, in fifth edition, they did have backgrounds, but now the way they do it is like they just give you things. Like if you're a criminal, for example, you can get like, you know, you can get.
Oh yeah. You could have flaws and stuff too. That gives you like bonuses here and there. Yeah, but then you have to play that, and you have to have that like come into the story a lot.
Is 5th edition the Las Vegas of D&D now?
What do you mean?
Is it like the Sin City? Like anything goes, you know, like you could just do whatever you want. Like I'm gonna be a half cow wood elf drow.
No, not exactly. But I think it's up to. There's more options. There's definitely more races. You know, there's like over 30 races or something, so you can play like some weird, you know, no more than non-traditional races. But I think again, it depends on the DM, because if the DM puts some restrictions and says, no, you can't be this because it doesn't fit with the story or whatever, or it doesn't fit because of X, Y, and Z, you can still do that, you know. But I just think it just gives you more. They want to give people, they want to empower people to give. And, you know, I think it comes from the fact that Wizard of the Coast is so influenced by Magic the Gathering, and you know, Magic gives you so many options, and people that they're trying to capture the Magic the Gathering crowd that doesn't want to be limited with. You know what I mean? Because you build your deck, and the better your deck is, that type of mentality type of thing, you know, which doesn't necessarily translate that well to other games like RPGs, you know, because I would like to have some limitations when it makes sense to have limitations, you know. So,
all right. So I want to ask everyone what your favorite cantrip is.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, that's a good one.
I got a list here.
Okay.
So I'll share. Can I share my screen?
Yeah. Please do.
Allow share.
Oh, do I have to allow it? Okay.
I don't know. I know that's a thing.
You're the boss.
Am I in control?
You're the host now.
Look at me. Look at me. It is my Zoom.
Okay.
Look at me. Look at me. You are the host now.
You're the host now.
Can you do it? Is it allowed?
No, it said host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, okay. Oh, let me see. Okay, participant. How do I do that? I got invites.
No, it should be under more or
Share
settings or something. Yeah, and it's under security. I'm pretty sure it's under security.
Oh wow, because I only have view. Can you do it, Michelle? Can I switch it back to you?
Yeah, I guess I'll claim host, and then
I think you're more experienced with this advanced Zoom features than I am.
Okay. It is allowed, and now I'm making you host again.
Amazing. All right, so
advanced sharing options, is that what I'm doing?
So I got these spells right here. So these are the
it's different on the PC with and my phone.
I can see it.
Cantrip. I need to zoom in.
Are you seeing the? Okay, so here.
I'm seeing it.
I don't know. Are you able to see it? Is it too small?
No, I
It's
can
too
see it.
small. Zoom in, zoom in.
Oh,
All right, let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this.
I'm on my phone. I don't know.
Oh, you are? Oh, okay. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna switch to a higher resolution.
I think if you zoom in, it'll fix it.
Yeah, there we go. And then I'm gonna go ahead and share this screen. Okay, you see it now?
Yeah.
So we got Acid Splash, Chill Touch, Dancing Lights, Druidcraft, Eldritch Blast. I'm not familiar with some of these. Firebolt, Guidance, Light, Mage Hand, Mending, Message, Minor Illusion, Poison Spray, Prestidigitation. That's Michelle's probably favorite one. Produce Flame, Ray of Frost, Resistance, Sacred Flame, Shillelagh. Shillelagh. Oh, that's where you get the Shocking Grasp, Spare the Dying, Thaumaturgy, True Strike, and Vicious Mockery. So we'll each pick a cantrip, okay? And then I have a list of the top cantrips here. So we're gonna go with what we say. So let's see how close we get here.
Well, I go straight for the evocation spell. So like Acid Splash, Chill Touch, the Ray of Frost. And,
you get one.
Shocking Grasp. Those are some good ones. And then the really good one, if you want to be like a supporter, True Strike. That's like one of the go-tos. We're
gonna make Ariel love cantrips.
Yeah. I'm not against them, but I don't know what Vicious Mockery does, but I like the name Vicious Mockery. Do you just make fun of
that
people all
one's
day?
funny because it just makes the person feel like, oh,
and
you will see a string of insults laced with subtle enchantments at a creature you can see within range.
Yeah.
You're an ugly troll and I hate you, and your mother
That's a good one.
And he gets sad, I guess.
They get roasted. And there's a big stage that pops up, and there's a microphone, and everybody just like gets up on there and just throws out insults.
So True Strike lets you see where you can do the most damage, right?
You suck. You suck because you're a terrible wizard. Chuck, you're a terrible wizard.
You found your favorite cantrip.
Yeah.
Insults. Vicious Mockery.
Yeah. I'm all about Vicious Mockery from now on.
I don't know what Thaumaturgy is. Let's see.
Shocking Grasp and Chill Touch require a touch attack.
Yeah.
So I feel like those might be a little harder. I think Ray of Frost and Acid Splash are the best just because they're ranged and their evocation, they cause damage. So I think those would be the good ones.
That's interesting. I wanted to see what a Thaumaturgy was, and you can do one of the following. You can do like 6 things, which is kind of weird. A cantrip. So you want to talk about powerful. One of them is your voice booms up to 3 times as loud as normal for 1 minute.
Yeah.
You can cause flames to flicker, brighten, dim, or change color for 1 minute. You cause harmless tremors in the ground for 1 minute. You create an instantaneous sound that originates from a point of your choice within range, such as a rumble, or thunder, a cry of a raven, or ominous whisper. You instantaneously cause an unlocked door or window to fly open or slam shut. You alter the appearance of your eyes for 1 minute.
Yeah.
If you cast the spell multiple times, you have up to 3 of its 1 minute effects active at a time. You can dismiss such an effect as an action.
Yeah.
All these would be cool for like a bard that's really theatrical or wants to have like a cool concert, like all these like lights, and then they can do the announcements or like sing at the same time as they're playing.
That's pretty fun. I never seen this one. I didn't know this one was around.
Well, this
might be my new favorite one.
This is like a 5e spell though, right?
Yeah, I haven't heard this one before.
These are 5th edition.
Well, the thing is, you can only do one. You can't do them all at a time. It's one action. Because the way the way
Yeah.
the action, they call it like action conservation. I forgot what the term is, but basically in fourth edition, you would have like, I think third edition too, right? Like major, or maybe just fourth. You have your major action, your minor action, your move action. You could move around or do something major. But in fifth edition, and I think in Pathfinder too, like Pathfinder does that same thing where they have it boil it down to the action. And so this is, you can have one action, but then if it's a cantrip, that's what I'm saying. If it's a cantrip, you could do all 6 of this in 6 minutes because you can just keep casting it, you know?
That's what it says right there. You can have it says you can have up to 3 of its 1 minute effects active at a time.
But also the cantrip, isn't the cantrip only a couple times a day?
Not according to this. Oh yeah, no. Cantrip you can cast anytime. It's like a level 0 spell. Yeah.
Well, you can cast it anytime, but how many times can you cast it?
Oh, you're talking about battle?
Well, like I know it's like a freebie, but it's like unlimited. You can cast it as many times as you want.
Yeah, because it's something that in theory, it's something that you practiced over and over and over and over again.
And it's just like a natural thing.
You can look at it as in card tricks. Like I practice this over and over again. I can do it in my sleep. I don't have to study it.
It becomes you don't have to study it. Yeah.
You know, I got to practice that, so I wouldn't be able to do it. So a cantrip is something that you've studied over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's like second nature to you because you've done it so much. You don't have to prepare this. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So my favorite one is Chill Touch.
What's your favorite one, Chuck?
My favorite one is Chill Touch, just because, like I said, you can use it over and over again. And as a magic user,
yeah,
I don't like people getting close to me. And when you get close to me, that's what I use. So I use something to keep you away from me, right? Well, and it has a range. Well, it has a range of 120 feet.
That's pretty good range. Yeah.
So you don't have to. I like it because it's a ranged hand, but what you do is you send out a hand.
Yeah.
So Chill Touch is something you send out a hand, a necromantic hand, and it's the hand of death, and it touches somebody.
Well, how is that different from Mage Hand? Because Mage Hand is on that list too.
So yeah, so Mage Hand. Let me get rid of this one here.
Also, it depends on how you want to play and how long you guys are going to play the campaign, because message would be really useful at later on during the campaign. If you can just cast that all the time,
yeah,
you could really do real secretive stuff.
Oh, it's the range. The range is the difference. This one's only 30 feet.
The range, yeah. So this is only 30 feet. Mage Hand is more of a helpful one. So say you go, hey, that door does not lock. Can you open it? You send out Mage Hand. Mage Hand will open the door.
Yeah.
Or you got to move that vial to create a distraction. You got to knock that thing over so the guards will see it. Use Mage Hand to pop it off.
Right.
I think it can lift up to 5 pounds or something 10 pounds. It says no more than 10 pounds.
Activate magic items or carry more than 10 pounds. So a Mage Hand is pretty helpful. So that would be one for if I was a warrior.
Yeah,
I would like Mage Hand, or especially as a rogue, I would like Mage Hand because I can use it as a deflector, right? And that's pretty powerful. But yeah, Chill Touch, Acid Splash, same thing. It's 60 feet. You shoot bubbles of acid out, Yeah. And those, I like cantrips that are
damaging.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really helpful, especially if you can do it unlimited, an unlimited amount of time.
Yeah, because I wouldn't be using them for far, and it's not that powerful. So Chill Touch, I'm not going to be using it every turn, but I'm going to use it to it's kind of like your jab, like in boxing. The jab is actually the most powerful punch in boxing because it's something that you gauge with. It's something that you test with, and you wear someone down over time, punching them quickly, and so I kind of use it like that from far away. It's a good little tip for all magic users. I do my weakest spell. I hit you, 6 or 7 times with that, and then I'll hit you with magic missile, and then you're dead.
Then you finish it. Then you're finishing them off with a knockout blow.
Right.
So that's
the better your DM too. It'd be nice because if it's a DM that throws a lot of fodder, you want those evocation spells. If it's a DM that really screws you over and breaks your stuff, you want that mending spell. If it's a DM that separates the group all the time, you want that message spell.
Yeah,
So,
it's
so
all
Michelle,
dependent on the situational.
Yeah.
so Michelle, with prestidigitation, is it that you're creating a fart?
Well, I'd like to think of it as, oh shoot, I spilled like food on me again. Ugh, so clumsy, prestidigitation. You just like clean it up. You just clean it up really quick. You're just like, oh, good. I don't have to change.
So,
You can do
but it just says a puff of wind.
Yeah, I know, not that type of win. Hey, Chuck, you're trying to you're trying to derail us again, aren't you?
Ah, that's what I do. Back to you guys here.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll probably have to wrap it up with that because we're going into like over an hour now. But last words, I would say, God, I had a last question I was going to ask you in terms of the magical abilities, because we're all doing trying to concentrate on magic. But it slipped. I can't remember. You guys, do you guys have anything to add?
I don't. I mean, why would you? Basically, the whole point of this is the 8 schools of magic. There's 2 types of magic. You know, there's the arcane. To sum it up, there's the arcane school, and then there's the divination school. And divination school is the anything religious or anything faith based. And if it's not that, it's the 90% arcane.
Right.
Everything else is arcane. And there's 8 schools that fall into that. We went over that. You can check it later. You go back to the video and check that. And basically, why would you use cantrips? That's a good closing question. So we have kind of already covered that. I'm looking at this person's answer right here. You know, they're basically what I said. They're just support spells, and as we've seen, you don't have to be a magician or a mage to use them.
And you don't have to prepare them, right? Because wizards have to prepare them in advance. I think that's one advantage why we use them over and over, because you don't have to prepare them. Because I know the clerics, they have to prepare. You'd have to pray. Well, in AD&D, it was like they call them priests, because you have to pray to your god before you get the spell. And then if you don't do that, or if you don't play your role play, your alignment, you could lose your spells because your god gets pissed off at you. That type of thing, you know.
Well, why use a tinderbox to light your flame, right, or your stove, when you can use control flames or firebolt?
Yeah, if you can do that.
You can just go pop. So the utility spells.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could use fireball. You want to start your stove, you just end up destroying.
Well, a campfire. There you go. You light your cigarette with a fireball.
Yeah. Have you guys seen it?
Hilarious.
That is hilarious. Have you guys seen the what is it called? One for All? I'll have to put a link on the description when I upload this, because that one is hilarious. You know, they have this cosplayer who she's part. It's like a three member party, and it's like a fighter and a tiefling who is the tiefling is like what is the tiefling? I forgot what she is. I think she's a sorcerer, but basically all she does is just shoots fireball all the time. She only has one spell, and she uses it all over again, and it's pretty funny, you know. So
you know, before we go,
yeah,
what's the number one necromancy spell, you think? What do you think it is?
Raise dead.
And no, it's actually not. It's actually vampiric touch. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Vampiric touch? Wow.
And guess what? Because it has cantrip like abilities, because it's a utility spell.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're dying low on magic, you throw vampiric touch out there, and you get a little life back. Yeah. If you can do that 3 times in a row, then you're good. You know. So it's kind of. I thought that'd be interesting to let you guys know that.
Well, we're talking about vampiric touch. Like they nerfed the vampires too, which kind of pissed me off in the later editions. I think after 3. I don't know if 3.5 still had it, but back in the AD&D days, if you ran into a vampire or an undead creature like a white, what's it called? It's like a spirit, yeah. And they would, they're undead. I think it's called a white. And basically, if they attack you, you could lose levels. You know, you could lose life force, but then they could drain your life force and your levels. You know, so I don't know.
Necromancy spell turn undead.
Yeah, well, that's what the clerics were, to like turn on dead.
Yeah, that's how clerics use that one too.
Yeah.
All right. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. So we could probably talk about Magic for like maybe we'll do a second part of Magic because I had a lot more questions and a lot more to say. I didn't even get into the Dungeon Crawl Classic spells that I'm aware of, and you guys may not know, but let's do this again and let's do a sequel to it and talk about get really deep into some of the like the finer points. I'll prepare more on this on the sequel so that, and then I'll have specific topics for that, because right now it's kind of like a general overview what the schools do. You know, I know that in 5e, because they have Magic the Gathering, they incorporate some of the Magic the Gathering story elements, which is kind of interesting. So maybe we can even delve into that, you know, for a future get together.
We should just do a mini homebrew, just like a mini game where
everyone plays spellcasters.
Yeah, we demonstrate how to play. Like
that's a great idea.
Battle,
yeah,
that's a good idea for a series. Yeah. So we have the first one is we do a session where everyone is forced to play a spellcaster.
I'm down for that because I don't know how to spell.
And then the next one, everyone's forced to play like a bard.
Oh yeah.
And then the next one, everyone's forced to play a cleric.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Well, like when I was playing Warcraft, I remember we had a guild, and the guild was like the only requirement was you had to be a hunter. So everybody it was an all hunter guild, and I was trying when I got back into it, I was trying to start like a one for just Death Knights because I kept running into Death Knights, you know, when I was doing the levels. And I was like, I need help with this quests. And everybody's a Death Knight, then you know, everybody knows what they're supposed to do, the same missions.
And we can call the homebrew session like Cleric Madness.
Yes, I like it.
Depending on what character it is.
and with magical mischief.
Oh my god.
That'll be so fun, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll pick like a day. It seems to be like Mondays might work out for all of us for our schedule, but we'll pick a day.
Mondays work out.
Yeah, and then we'll start, you know. I think that's a great idea. Chuck, was that your idea?
What? You just froze.
Oh, I said, was that your idea? I think that was a great idea. You know.
No, that was hers.
Oh, okay. Michelle.
That was Michelle's idea.
All of ours.
You get the bonus. You get the bonus points.
Warriors, hoorah! And then all of us have to play a warrior class.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or we can call the paladin one holy sh. You know, we can use that. We can black it out.
And depending on the day or whatever time we do it or whatever character, each one of us DMs a little.
Okay. Revolving, yeah, that works too. We did that with some of our one shots.
Oh, like D&D orgy.
Yes. All right. Well, this has been the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right. So then, what day should we have our characters done? If are we doing this next week?
Well, let me see. Yeah, we can look the schedule.
The schedule. Yeah, I can have something ready by next week. Just tell me what the class and the, you know, and the
we're all playing a caster. So what? Well, when we say all of us, the two of us will play like a character, and then you're DMing first, Ariel.
We're doing 3.5, right?
Yeah, 3.5.
Okay. Well, 3.5. How many spellcasting classes are there? Just 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
wizard.
What you pick?
So wizard, sorcerer,
sorcerer,
or bard.
And a bard, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be fun to play a bard. I've never done bard before, so unless you guys.
It would be so funny to do just clerics. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Okay.
We
can start with just clerics.
Or you want to do a cleric madness?
Yeah. The lamest one. Just like get it out of the way.
Can I play an evil cleric though? Because I always play like, you know, a
Oh, you could, I mean, why not, right?
You could do whatever you want, DM.
So I put it as a part in the French. I put it as holy shit, all clerics. That's gonna be our first one. Yeah,
I like it.
We have to make it PG-14. No.
Well,
you just take the eye out. Just put a little asterisk for the eye.
I don't know. I don't know about PG. I mean, it could get if you have evil characters, he might get a little dicey. So I don't care.
Yeah. All clerics is going to be a mature audience.
Yeah, It has
Was
rated
that dice? Was that dicey pun? Was that on purpose?
Oh yeah, yes, it was. 4 points for that one.
All right, so I got us down for the 6th of June.
Okay.
That's what about 7 p.m.? Is that good?
Yeah, that's good because if it goes later, we can go
3.5. Have your you want to do all clerics?
3.5. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do all clerics. The whole point is to do things we never done before, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that'll be good.
Is
So
the 7th a Tuesday?
No,
Monday?
the 6th is a Monday.
Oh, the 6th. You're right.
Yeah.
I was thinking 7th for some reason. Okay, yeah.
All
All
right.
right, so get your clerics ready. We're gonna do that.
I'll bring out my 3.5 character sheet and get it ready. And you guys do the same. All right.
Yeah, 3.5. It's very important to do the 3.5.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you guys. It's a lot of fun. So I'll catch you guys next time. And I'm just getting off a little early right now because I'm trying to do some of the editing tonight so that we can get it up on the
No problem.
on the YouTubes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The good thing about it was very good. I loved it. Thank you.
Yeah, it was great. All right. Take care. Have a good night, guys.